Hello everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood Jumbo Fluff here with a new art video. Today we are designing a random creature. We're letting this wheel pick for us what kind of combination we will be making. Our first choice is a bird, a cardinal to be specific. Our second choice is an element. Ooh, so we will add the element of water. And we also have one more combination to throw in there. So our last component is a fish, or more specifically just like an ocean non-mammal creature, because this choice is an octopus, which is not a fish but a cephalopod, but whatever. So to get started, we do a brainstorming session. So let's see what kind of ideas fell out of my brain here. So after some thumbnailing and sleeping on it, I decided that none of those ideas were going to work for me. So let's see, this is what I came up with the next day when I came back to the project. I am inspired a lot by the artist Dina Norland. She used to make YouTube videos like these where she would combine random animals into her own creature designs, and I really love those videos. She was a great YouTuber, but unfortunately she died, but I really love everything that she did, so I wanted to take some inspiration from her and work on this project today. Something that she had said in her videos was that she didn't try to do like a 50-50 split of her creatures. She kind of picked one and then elaborated on it with the other creatures. So I kind of took that approach in this last attempt at a design. So I started mostly with the cardinal base and then started working in elements of the octopus and some influence from the water. After I had that basic structure down, I decided I'd want to make 3 illustrations to kind of show the creature in different poses, in different situations or whatever. So I imagine that this creature is aquatic since we got the water element and we're dealing with octopi here anyway. So I kind of thought it would be kind of like a sea butterfly, or even just like a bird shape, but has elements of cephalopods. So I wanted his head to look like coral reef, so he can kind of disguise himself. A lot of octopuses can alter their appearance, so I thought it might be nice for this guy to be able to blend into coral reefs, and maybe this is his way of ambushing his prey, or even hiding from predators in plain sight, just something like that. So that's kind of where I started. And I like the idea that he's pretty malleable like an octopus, so he doesn't have like a big structure inside of him, so he can kind of shape his body how he wants. That's something I really like about octopuses. I think they're really cool animals. They're really smart, and if you've ever seen like a video of an octopus in the ocean, usually they walk on the bottom of the ocean. They don't usually swim too much. When they do swim, they have like this like propulsion that that makes them kind of almost like zoom through the water. But that takes up a lot of energy, so usually they're just crawling along the bottom. In my brainstorming designs, I try to do some with like the really big head that kind of like drags on the ground behind them, because I think that's really funny. But I didn't end up picking any of those. I went with this more bird focused design. And I kind of thought, like, what would a bird look like in the water? I think I tried to look for common elements between the creatures, between an octopus and a cardinal. So I noticed that, they both have beaks. Some kinds of octopuses have like almost like fins on their head, like a Dumbo octopus. For some reason, I didn't specify what kind of octopus. It's kind of weird because I made up this entire list, and for most things I specified, like, I didn't just say a bird, I said a cardinal, and I didn't just say a fish, I said like a bunch of different kinds of fish. So I don't know why I didn't pick a specific kind of fish or a specific kind of octopus for this one, but for some reason I didn't. So after I got my little sketches down, I added in a blue oceany background. I didn't show myself drawing it just because it was not that interesting. I just looked at a picture on Google and tried to copy it as best I could. And in the end, you're not going to see a lot of it anyway because the creature's going to be in the way. So when I started thinking about what I wanted to take away from the cardinal for the core of the design, I wanted to take its round body and it's kind of like triangular head. A lot of the cardinal pictures I saw, they have like almost like a little crest on top of their head. It's a little pointy, so I thought that would be a good place to incorporate elements of the coral reef. And I also wanted to take the color too. So when I was looking at the octopus, I was thinking like what stands out the most. So I wanted to take the eyes of the octopus design. So you'll notice these creatures have some weird dark squinty eyes, and that's because it's taken from the octopus design. And I also wanted to incorporate tentacles because I feel like that's like what an octopus is iconic for, right? Octopuses are so cool because like their tentacles are really adaptable. So you can sometimes see octopuses like they'll straighten out their tentacles so that they're like more stiff like arms or legs, and then they'll walk along the bottom and they can hold things like coconuts or shells. I don't know. They're really cool animals, and they also have like this, ability to camouflage themselves depending on what kind they are. They also can, spit ink out of their siphon, which is cool too. So that was another thing I was trying to play with in my brainstorming ideas. But ultimately, the things I took for this design were the tentacles and the eyes. I think that was enough to give it the essence of octopus while still clearly resembling a bird. So the colors that I chose are directly from a reference photo of a cardinal, but I did find a specific kind of octopus. I think there's actually quite a few of like red octopuses, but the one that I chose was like an Atlantic spotted octopus or something. It was like mostly red, and then it had little white dots on it. And then I was reading about this kind of octopus, and it said that whenever it gets defensive, it will turn like a darker shade of red, like more crimson. So that's something that I really wanted to incorporate in my drawing. So I like to imagine that this creature can use its tentacles like additional arms. It could also use them to maybe give itself a boost if it needs to reach something, like if it was on the floor of the ocean and it wanted to hop or something, it could use the tentacles instead of its little bird feet. And the animal's bird feet are actually also mimicking coral reef. Then when we're looking at the face of the creature, it definitely resembles a cardinal except for the eyes. So I made sure that the beak was kind of this corally orangey color that I saw in a lot of photographs of cardinals. And I did a black mask around the eyes and beak, which also is something that I noticed is present in a lot of cardinals. Cardinals are very common where I live. I think they're common throughout most of the Midwest in the U.S. They are the state bird of my state. um, so they are also sexually dimorphic. So male cardinals are bright red and have big, beautiful crested hair. But female cardinals are actually kind of like a yellowish, greenish color. And then they have like little patches of reddish orange, like on the top of their head or on their wings. But for the most part, they are a lot more muted in color. So I thought that that could be something to play with as far as color changing as well. You know, if we're taking elements from the octopus's history or biology. So yeah, these are some ideas that I was playing with. I also wanted these wings for the creature to resemble coral as well. So in my concept, they are kind of translucent, so they're not completely see-through, but they're also not completely red like the rest of the bird or fish bird, cephalopod bird. I don't know. I'm gonna have to work on this terminology for discussing creatures. Yeah. So anyway, the fin wings are another element of coral, so that whenever, like in the bottom right illustration, it's all hunkered down. The wings can complement the coral on top of the head to make it look more comprehensive and more convincing that, oh yeah, this is a coral reef and not like just a creature waiting to eat me. For the poses that I chose, these are pretty much the first two. Well, the one on the left and the top right are basically poses for cardinals. So the one that is on the top right, this is kind of like a cardinal that is turning midair. So you can see like its stomach and the bottom of the bird as it is turning to go a different direction or something. And then the larger illustration on the left is just kind of like a sitting pose for a bird. So those are pretty standard. But the last pose, the one on the bottom right, is a little more made up from the top of my head. Because I don't think that's like a real pose that animals do. So, and you know, since it's my imagination and I imagine that they don't have like hard bones or hard structure underneath, that they can kind of manipulate their body shape. So the last of the three poses is crouched down and extended tentacles and wing fin things, just to kind of give the idea that it's stretched out and could grab any direction, but also kind of looks a little bit like foliage, a little bit like coral reef. So even though it looks like lots of different things, it's also just hiding in plain sight, which I think is fun too. I also brainstormed some names for these creatures. I think based on the fact that I gave them tentacles and I tried to incorporate 8 tentacles, I'm not sure how clear they are in all of the designs because 8 is kind of a lot. It's hard to make them very distinct and easy to identify when they're overlapping and interacting, but I did do 8. So I thought it would be fun to call it an Octoplume because it refers to the octopus, but also like the kind of feathery tail feathers of a cardinal. Then it would be fun to combine that name with maybe scarlet or crimson so we get the sense of the red color right away. So I think that for this video, I'm going to call this guy a Crimson Octoplume. I would really love to make more videos like this. One of my dream projects is to make a bestiary of like a bunch of animals that I just imagine. I think that would be so fun. You know, Jumbo Fluff's book of monster stuff. That's pretty good. So this is hopefully the first of many drawings of monsters or creatures, whatever. So I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this process. I hope you enjoyed playing along with me in my random design choices and, you know, watching the different stages of the project as it came together. I know I had a lot of fun making this project. So if you like it, let me know. And if you liked any of my little thumbnail sketches of potential octoplumes, let me know which one is speaking to you because I definitely like the ones with the big head dragging behind them. Thought they were really funny. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will